Greetings, humans of the internet. You know what I love? I love it when in a film or a TV show, there is a scene where the director decides to do something different with the camera. You know, something odd, something wacky, something really crazy or abnormal that just adds to the scene. As spectators, we sort of know the language of film, right? We know the standard shots, the wide shot, the shot reverse shot, all that jazz. And in general, most of these shots are pretty static because the director wants you to focus on what's happening, the actors, the performances, or the action, or, you know, something that is happening on the screen. But I think that changing up the way the camera behaves can actually breathe so much life into a scene and into a show. So that is why in this video, I want to talk about my favorite shot in Stranger Things. Woo! Now, hear me out. Most people probably don't remember this scene whatsoever, because on its own, it's pretty standard. As always, the acting is top-notch, the writing is slick and impactful, the characters are great, but like, it is pretty forgettable. But I swear, every single time I think about Stranger Things, this scene always pops into my head because of one camera movement. And I think it's bloody awesome. I'm going to assume that if you're watching this, then you've seen Stranger Things. Because, come on, if you haven't, you should go watch it. So I'm not going to explain the whole context that leads up to this scene. I think that would be a waste of time. But just to rejig any memories, it is in season 3, episode 4, and it's the scene where Nancy and Jonathan get, spoilers, fired by Tom, the director of the Hawkins Post. Now, we know that Tom is flayed. He's been sucked by the meaty, squishy bad guy, and he's mean now. He's a really mean man. He's a minion. And we see that at the start of the episode, and it's really grim. But because of this, because we know he's not really Tom, he's mean, he's rude, and he's super intense and really shiny and like sweaty, really weird, that we have this feeling of tension throughout this scene. We don't know what he's going to do, and we know that Nancy and Jonathan don't know that he's rude now, that he's a bad guy. I mean, he's kind of a bad guy anyway, he's a bit of a dick, but he's like super bad now, he's a super dick now. And because of that, it's really suspenseful. And what they do is they put this sort of ambient horror sound effect that plays over the scene, and it puts us on edge, and it's creepy. And Tom is talking to Nancy and Jonathan really calmly, like not raising his voice. And, you know, it's shot well. It's pretty standard angles. You know, you've got the master shot over the shoulder onto Tom, and then the reverse onto Nancy and Jonathan. The shots have space. You know, they're quite spacious. You can see the whole room, take in the scene. You're quite comfortable in that. But then this happens.
The big papers don't have trust. The trust of our community.
Tom, if you just
Do you know how I built that trust?
I want to see that again, one more time.
Tom, if you just
Do you know how I built that trust?
As Tom hits his chair, the camera angle shifts with that impact. Like the camera, our perspective, the audience's eyes, gets knocked off kilter because of what Tom did. And what happens is it goes into what's called a Dutch tilt. Then, as the scene carries on, you don't get any more wide shots, no masters, no spacious shots that show the whole room. You zoom in onto the characters, into these close-ups that are really oppressive and claustrophobic. And you know what's still there? That tilt is still there. The tilt is actually there for the whole scene, like the rest of the scene. That impact just permeates throughout the scene. As soon as Tom hits his chair, boom, we're like, you know, we're put on edge, even more so. And it's odd, it's uncomfortable. And I just love the way that the shot seems to interact with the action on screen. And it reflects Jonathan and Nancy's nerves, the fear, the worry. And it all comes in together just to create this beautiful atmosphere of tension and being scared. I think it's beautiful.
But hopefully, you've learned something valuable here. You've learned how in the workplace, in the real world, there are consequences to your actions.
And honestly, that's That's all I have to say. Yeah, I think it's great. It's a shot that is so overlooked, right? It's just a small little movement of a camera. But I remember seeing it and I just played it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Because I was like, oh, that's just beautiful. It does something to the scene that you can't have if you keep the camera still. I think it's fantastic. So yeah, like, subscribe. I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye.